Alright YouTube, and by the way, I'm shooting this on my Fujifilm X-E1 because it's the only other camera that I've got, because I wanted to have these two in shot because I like gesturing at them. One of the questions I get asked a lot when I'm out and about shooting with these two cameras, the BlackMagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, from now on I'm just going to call it the 6K, and the BlackMagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, again that's just going to be the 4K from now on. The question I get asked a lot is which of these two cameras is the better camera? So today I thought it would be interesting to take a look at some of the footage that I've shot on each camera, and then I've shot the same scene with each camera, same settings and everything. We'll put those side by side, have a look at them, compare which we think fares the best, and then afterwards I'm going to discuss some of the benefits of each camera and some of the downsides of each camera. So first and foremost, let's jump in and see some of the footage. Now, all of my 4K footage is shot with micro four thirds lenses. I very, very rarely put on an adapter or a Metabones or anything like that. The reason I don't shoot with an adapter or a Metabones is the reason I bought this camera was at the time I had my Ursa Mini Pro and the original Pocket camera, and I bought this one to replace the Pocket Camera HD. And I like this because it's small, it's a good, at the time it was a good B cam, so I didn't want to be putting on bigger, heavier lenses with an adapter or a Metabones, so I've got just MFT lenses for this camera. And to be honest, that is one of the main things that I love about this camera, is its size, it is light, it is portable. The image quality is fantastic at 4K, it is comparable to the 6K camera, so I really like that about it. To be honest with you, the downsides for both of these cameras are pretty much the same. I'm sure you'll have seen other videos talking about the battery life. There are ways around it. I've got various adapters and V-locks that I can attach to both cameras to get more battery life out of it, but when you're using the standard size batteries that come with it, you are lucky if you get half an hour out of them. It depends what frame rate you're shooting, what resolution, etc. But you're roughly going to get 20 to 30 minutes, I reckon, on the batteries. What's funny is even though at 4K there isn't much of a difference between these two cameras, I will generally, if I've got both on a shoot, I will lean towards this as my A camera. The reason being is the EF mount, the Super 35 sensor size, and I've generally got better EF lenses. So I always lean towards this one as my A camera. That said, like I said earlier, the difference between 4K on this camera and this camera, there isn't much difference. So there's not really much reason other than those two things that I mentioned for me to lean towards this one, but I do lean towards it. This camera is much heavier than this one. I think officially it's something like 160 grams heavier, but it feels considerable. I'll be honest, neither of these feels like a pocket camera. I don't know what kind of clothes the people at BlackMagic are wearing that their pockets are that big, but this one feels heavier and bigger than this one. Even with the cage on, I rarely put a cage on this one because at the moment I just don't feel like I need it for the kind of jobs that I'm doing. But even with the cage on, this one still feels much lighter than the 6K. Overall, for me, if you were going to buy one of these cameras, it depends on what you're going to be using it for, but my feeling would be to lean towards the 4K, because the main benefit of having the 6K camera is that it shoots 6K. Up until you get to that point, they're so comparable. They're so evenly matched that I think the only thing that really makes a difference then is the price. This one has the benefit of being able to put various lens adapters on it so that you can use more than MFT lenses, whereas this one you're pretty much stuck with using the EF mount lenses. So the 4K has that advantage. Obviously if you need to shoot 6K then you have to buy this camera, but if you don't, I'd be leaning towards advising people to get this because it's much cheaper. The footage is absolutely stunning. I think you're all aware of what the downsides are to this camera, but it's still absolutely incredible. The color science is just wonderful for the price point. So for me, although I absolutely love owning this 6K, and I, for some reason, always go to it as my A cam on shoots, my advice would actually be to look towards the 4K more unless you absolutely need 6K. It's brilliant for me because I already had EF mount lenses and I like the Super 35. I didn't want to have to buy a Metabones for this, so for me it made sense. I was selling my Ursa Mini Pro, it made sense for me to have this camera. It's lighter. I like the fact that I don't have to carry around my Ursa Mini Pro all day. I'm getting on a bit now and it's a heavy beast, that Ursa Mini Pro. So having these two, which are much lighter rigs, is a huge benefit for me. So I'm still happy that I've got this camera over my Ursa Mini Pro, but if I had to choose one, I would probably lean towards just buying the 4K, mainly because of the price difference. So I hope you got something out of this video. Again, this is just my personal experience of these two cameras. So my advice would be look around, watch as many videos and read as much as you can about both cameras. Think about the kind of work that you're doing, what you're going to need it for, maybe think about future-proofing as well, and then you can make an informed decision as to what you want to do. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about either of these cameras, feel free to drop me a line in the comments. If you like this video, then fantastic. Please do give me a like and a subscribe. That's always massively, massively appreciated. I'll see you in the next one.